Helps if I have my microphone in front of me. Hello, everybody. We are on the free to play, um, and we have a lot to talk about. Let me think of where I want to start first. First, I kind of want to talk about yesterday's video. I was a little hot. Um, been very, very busy. Lots of even on my days off, I've got stuff. I've had stuff to do. But tomorrow I have a nice, relaxing day off with nothing major to do. So, um, think I'll be able to decompress a little bit and not be so high strung about a singular comment. Um, but so I kind of wanted to address that and kind of give like I don't know that I want to necessarily be like I'm sorry, but for anybody that was like, man, Roblox hot today. I was a little heated, and I don't think it had anything to do with the comment as much as maybe just some other things going on, right? So I do apologize, I guess, if there's a little bit of if if it was a little too much. Um, all right, with that out of the way, a lot of interesting stuff coming up on the horizon here. As we are now ending several kind of events that are going on, we've got the Forge Pass ending, and a couple of other things. Kind of, the fusion is now over, or the summon is over. So lots of stuff is kind of rotating out, and let me go ahead and buy my fragments. I have enough, so I'm going to get some Yakarl fragments too. So I have plenty left over. I still have enough for Yenica next week, and I should gain more by then too. Um, so we got some interesting stuff coming along. I heard today that we will be getting there's a new event coming where you can have the potential to get Tormin the Cold. So Tormin the Cold, I believe, is a dwarf. Make the most sense. Yep, here he is right here. Um, and he's a good champion. Definitely a solid champion. One that would be very beneficial to any account for many different reasons. He can help on waves. Definitely very strong in the arena. Um, you could even use him for spider in some ways because with a burner, you would ideally want to be able to freeze the spiderlings, um, because stun works the same way. So they still get their turn, and they would still trigger an effect of the HP burn, but they don't actually take their turn. So you still get the effect of the burn without them taking their turn, which does damage to the whole team and boss, um, without risking them attacking your characters. So one of the bigger challenges for me in on some of my HP burn teams is usually like who the target is for the spiderlings. And so I usually use Ultimate Death Knight, even if he's a weak affinity, because he's guaranteed to be the target for the spiderlings every time. And then I just bring some revivers. So when he dies, I pop him right back up. Um, but with Tormin, it doesn't matter who your Spiderling tank is because you would freeze them all and they would never actually take their turns, but still generate those burns, which kills the spider quickly. Now I haven't been able to show you an HP burn team here. I think I've shown you on my main account. I don't have one on the free to play yet because it's something that we're lacking. Um, okay, so then am I going to go for Torment? Well, I'm going to go for Torment on my main account for sure. I should have plenty of resources to go for that. I'm not going to do any summoning events if they require summoning events. I won't do either of those types of events. on either account. If that means not getting Tormin, then that means not getting Tormin. Um, while he's a great champion, I would much rather save up for events like this. On my main account, because I pulled for Acrisia and I got her, so I can't be upset. I don't have enough voids to go for something like the Valkynon guaranteed champion. Would I have gone for him? No. Um, he's not that he's bad. He's just unique and somewhat niche, and I don't know that he's a champion that I really would need as much on my account. Um, he is an interesting champion for sure, though. But I don't think I would have pulled 100 voids for him. There are other void champions I would much rather have. But either way, on that account, I'll be saving shards. And so pulling for that's one of the reasons I didn't go for the most recent fragment summon was because I don't want to have to pull shards. I used to be able to skip the summon rush, and now they made it very mandatory this time around, and I didn't have the shards for it, and so I wasn't going to do it. Um, and I feel somewhat similar to that on Tormin. Um, honestly, going for Tormin feels more like a like the collector in me, and not so much a champion that I really want. But he's a great champion. He would serve me well, but I don't know that I'm like with the content that I'm currently doing and how I'm doing it. I don't know that I'm like, oh please give me a Torment, you know. So, but enough about that. So on the free to play, I still don't feel like I couldn't do a summon event because I only have 6 ancients on the account in total. Um but so there's no way I could do any summoning events even if I wanted to. So hopefully I would be able to get him via other means by actually just, spending energy and working hard. So the question becomes, am I willing to spend all these saved up energy um, potions that I have? Well, that remains to be seen. But there is a possibility that I would, because he would be a legendary on my account, which I only have 2 of. And he's a huge asset in Arena, which is an area that I really want to be progressing in. He could pretty much replace Kale as my second nuker to Sun Wukong. So, um, we have to wait and see what the events look like. But if they're anything like what we've seen recently, I highly doubt I'm going to be able to afford it on the free to play. We're still just too early on the account to go for something. And furthermore, we just went through an event where we spent all our shards. I don't regret that um, because we pulled some amazing champions that are going to make a huge difference on the account. And they already are, and we're about to talk about that in a second. Um, so I don't know. We'll see what comes down from the events and everything. So um, what else do we have going on? Um, so I did want to give a little bit of an update. So Venom Age is getting closer and closer to 60, which is where I would use him. Um, I will probably fully ascend him once he hits 60, and I might try to work him um, into Sun Wukong's spot and see what happens. I also wanted to talk about a lot of the comments regarding Geomancer and strategies for my team and everything like that. There's some advice out there about speeding up Ursula so that we can get her ability off more often. It's on a 5-turn cooldown. the speeds that I would need to hit to have her procking it enough, um, I'm not really looking to hit those kinds of speeds. Now, I would much rather try to go for Ultimate Death Knight very fast on a 3-turn cooldown. I would need him to be fast and on heavy defense, and he would be able to rotate his shields in um, more often. So that's a possibility that I've thought about, but I don't think there's really a speed that I feel comfortable with where I could get enough out of Ursula's increased defense and strength in to really like super draw out the fight. I would rather just rely on her revive. And the revive has been doing that. We've been seeing that. We're also using her for decrease attack and increase attack. She's basically checking several boxes for us. And that's the way I look at it. This is my opinion, and I'm saying this not to necessarily contradict anything anybody is saying. This is just my opinion and my thought on it. I look at Clan Boss as you have boxes to check. Okay? Box number 1, decrease defense. Okay? Box number 2, decrease attack. Box number 3, increase attack for your team. Box number 4, increase defense for your team, right? And so you have these boxes that you want to check. Ursula checks a lot of them. She puts decrease attack on the boss. She puts increase attack on her team. She brings a revive. She brings strengthen and defense, whether she revives or not. So she brings a lot of value to the team. And she's been performing very adequately for me, and I don't have any complaints about her. That being said, if I was to get any other, like if I was to pull a Valkyrie, I would almost immediately replace her with a Valkyrie. Or an ally protect champion would certainly replace her as well. If I had a consistent ally protector, I would put them in place of Ursula and try to get some further turns in that way. Obviously, if I found a block damage champion, well, that changes everything, and then I would start looking on how do I build a unkillable team with the roster that I have. But for now, we're going to use Ursula, and we're going to use her as a reviver. That's the play. So sometimes people will die because of cooldowns and everything, and we'll bring them back up. People were saying that Geomancer is my damage dealer now, and I should throw Apothecary back in with obviously Deacon, and that would speed up the Ursula and speed up everybody and speed up the whole team. It's not a bad idea. I, however, don't think I'm going to go that route because I have more damage dealers than just Geomancer. And Geomancer's damage is great, and he can be a good solo champion, but I still don't think that I can do just a solo Geomancer plus speed and survivability and just count solely on Geomancer. I don't think that's going to give me the kind of damage output that I'm going to be able to get with the combination of Venomage, Frozen Banshee eventually, and Geomancer. So I'm going to have all of them involved with a Reviver, and I think I'm going to see results there. So the great thing about Venomage is that Venomage is Magic Affinity, so it's a direct translation. Well, I guess I'm not replacing Kale. But I'm thinking of Frozen Banshee. So Frozen Banshee is a direct translation to Kale. So when she goes in for Kale, she's taking that spot. We're not losing any affinity stuff. We're not losing really any much of anything. And so and I feel like I'm getting enough speed out of my Deacon and enough survivability out of my Ursula that I do think we're going to do a lot more damage than we're currently doing. I don't think I'm going to get more turns out of the team in that configuration, but I think I'll get more damage, and that's really what I'm looking for. Um, I think we'll be like, because Kale on my current team is so squishy, I feel confident that and he's still surviving a lot of what's going on. I feel pretty confident that um, when we bring in other champions, we're going to see the same number of turns, but we're going to see a lot more damage across those turns, if that makes sense, because we're going to be activating poisons, we're going to be adding more, we're going to be getting rid of the little versions of poison but adding all these big version of poisons which are going to tick harder. Um Plus Geomancer having his buff up all the time and everything like that. I just think we're going to and see some real significant change. Now, I wanted to show you some of the change that we've already witnessed. So for Nightmare, I did 3 key again, just barely, but 39.2 million. We needed 39.1. So we had enough on a 3 key. So I put that 4th key into Brutal, which was still on Void. This is important because I haven't run any of my keys today on Void. So on Void, we did 20 million on 1 key on Brutal difficulty. That was only 1.6 million shy of 1 keying Brutal. So the reason that I'm mentioning that is because it's a huge improvement on our team on Brutal. Brutal, I wasn't even close to 1 key before. Now I'm very, very close, and and I still don't have books on Geomancer. When I get those books onto Geomancer and I can get a more consistent landing of his A3 ability, we get a 100% chance to land it, as well as a shorter cooldown. We are going to see much better performance come out of Geomancer. So, very excited about the current like direction that we're going here. Um, Now, the ultimate goal is an unkillable team, or generating some kind of guardian gear team, um, or ally protect team, or there's a lot of different kind of teams that I can go with for clan boss. But right now, I'm just really in a progression state. Um, and the reason being is that I'm at a 4 key nightmare at the least. Obviously, I did a 3 key today, but at the least, I'm at a 4 key nightmare, which I'm very happy with. That's the thing. Like the next step is Ultra Nightmare, right? However, let's say that I get to a 4 key Ultra Nightmare. Um, that would be better, and that is probably the next goal. Um, but I do think we're really far away from it, and I don't think that, you know, we're talking 70 million, so that's what, like 17 million a key or something like that. Um, what would be 15? Yeah, so 15, 15. So that's 60 million. So yeah, like somewhere between like 17, 18 million a key, something along those lines to get a 4 key Ultra Nightmare. But the ultimate goal is to have 1 keys on both of them, because I want to be able to actually clear Ultra Nightmare as a clan as well. So you'll see like 3 keys on my main account, I'm doing 255 million across Ultra Nightmare. Now, if I had 3 more keys on my free to play that was doing 255 million, that's a big chunk into Ultra Nightmare. and then we could potentially kill it and get those double keys. But I also want to be able to have a key in Nightmare because I want to double dip. I want to have chances at both Sacreds and both epic or legendary books. So, um, and to be quite honest, I don't think I have the accuracy requirements for Ultra Nightmare as it is right now, anyways. If we look at Geomancer's accuracy, yes, he has 168, but he doesn't even have an accuracy banner yet. I don't have one on the account. Like, that's how new the account is. So for me to hit the accuracy requirements that I'm looking to hit while also maintaining survivability on the champion, um, it's just I don't think that that's quite in the cards. So really, I'm just trying to refine my nightmare team to get 100% consistency because we did have an issue the other day where I had to put 5 keys. I had to buy a key because it failed across the 4. Um, so now we're looking for some more consistency, and I'm slowly going to build it up and work towards it um, by increasing the power level of Geomancer with books. Um, Likewise, we're going to bring in Venomage, who, by the way, everyone's talking about, oh, get your increased defense out there, get your get your speeds up and all these things, but don't forget, Venomage isn't just poisons. Venomage is also going to be reducing the damage by 15% more. Between Venomage and Geomancer and their passives, we would have 30% damage reduction. Just flat damage reduction. That's before strengthen and um, increased defense and any of those other factors come into play. So Venomage is going to bring a lot of value that I think maybe people weren't considering. And then the poison combusting, the activating of the poisons is just really, really solid too, because it's going to let me optimize. If you have 10 buffs on, like, let's say the boss has 10 buffs and Kale uses his A3. It does damage, but we're not landing any of those poisons because we have 10 buffs. With Venomage going in and activating those poisons, those buffs are going to fall off quicker and we'll get to apply more, which is just more damage, more high damage because he takes so much damage from poison debuffs. So, look, I could be completely wrong and I could go down this path and find out, oh, nope, it didn't work. It's too convoluted, or the damage reduction didn't work the way I thought it did, or whatever the case may be. But it's a lesson that I'm willing to learn the hard way because I mean, it makes sense to me, right? And part of this game, you know, I don't I know many people kind of grew up in this era where it's like, oh, how do I beat this? And you Google it, and then they give you 15 characters that say use these and beat that, right? Um, and there's nothing wrong with that. I do that all the time. But it's also fun to try and come up with like unique ideas and approaches for stuff. And this is one of my ideas. These are the champions that I was given, and the first thing I saw was 15% damage reduction and 15% damage reduction. It's like, okay, I'm going to put them together and see how far they can go. If it blows up in my face, well, I can always just go back and say, oh, okay, well, okay, it didn't work. Maybe we throw UDK in there. Maybe we increase Ursula. But it's going to help me in other ways too, because I'm going to be able to remaster Sun Wukong. I'm going to be able to change his blessing and get more value in different areas of the game out of Sun Wukong. Um, and I might even be able to retire Kale and put him in like a stun set and change his masteries so he gets the yeah, I was right. I clicked on it right away. Get fearsome presence to increase the chance of landing that stun, and then we can start using him in kind of different content where for like faction wars he can land stuns, and then we can use him in the rare secret rooms and things like that. So there's some stuff there. Real quick, because we are running out of time, I did want to point out a couple of things that these were comments in my clan chat, not so much my, or maybe it was a comment on one of my videos. Um, Sorry, I was just reading that comment that I was talking about. Um, so what I was kind of talking about, was champions are not always graded in a vacuum. And what I mean by that is Eris is very, very good for clan boss in specific situations. Eris can make unkillable teams work. That's why I want her. Because she's going to make unkillable teams work for me in the future. And I'm counting on that. Her partnered with Deacon Armstrong. Maybe I pull a Maneater at some point. Not Maneater. Um, yes, a Maneater. Maneater, but I'm thinking of the that's not who I wanted to say. Seeker. Paired up with a Seeker. The combination of those three plus a block damage champion like Demitha would open up a lot of avenues for unkillable for me. And so that's where Eris, I did get value from her early on. The reason I'm bringing this up, and I think I've talked about this before, in fact, is because I've seen people in my own clan who are like rocking an Eris when they have like legendary champions on their roster, and they're like, well, or another example would be Coffin Smasher. You know, Coffin Smasher served a very specific purpose when I went for him. He brought consistent decrease attack, and he brought a 5% damage reduction across the board from Clan Boss. Um, those two things combined helped me progress up further in Clan Boss. But now I have upgrades over that. Now I have 15% damage reduction. And he did bring it damage, like, you know, HP burns when it landed, we would get some damage. And then, of course, this hit pretty hard, and it was a multi hitter with Giant Slayer. So, you know, but it's important to understand that Eris is good, but she may not be good for you because champions are not always good in a vacuum. They need other pieces around them. Um, you know, if I had just Geomancer, if Geomancer was my first 60 on this account, I'd still be struggling because you need to be able to keep him alive. And you need him to have accuracy, and you know, so I wouldn't have as fast of a uh, farming in campaign and all that stuff. So, but we're right at that 30-minute mark, so I'm gonna end it there. So you'll see I still have a lot of energy. I did forget to run all of the dungeons that I said I was gonna do. I'm gonna do those tonight. the Dragon's Lair. I didn't do it last night, and then I didn't do it today because I got a late head start on work. And so I didn't have time to set it up on my computer before I left. So I think I've touched on almost everything. But again, thank you for the comments. And I want to be clear, those were very well worded, constructive comments about my teams and Geomancer, and maybe I should try this. And I really appreciated them. So great comments. Um, those solutions or those ideas that were given to me were I may not implement them right now. I want to try my thought process and see if maybe I've come up with a good idea or not. But um, I will definitely, if I don't, if it blows up in my face, I will go back and look at those comments and say, okay, let's try what they were talking about. So, thank you all so much for watching. Oh, the last thing I want to talk about, and people have probably already left by now, I'm thinking about streaming tomorrow night, but it wouldn't be on the free to play. I'm thinking about reworking my clan boss team on my main account and trying to get more damage out of those teams. And I think that's something that a lot of you guys would be really excited to see because we're going to be working with an unkillable team. And that's going to show you kind of how to balance those speeds and everything and how to make sure that you're not going too fast and making sure your masteries are in line and all that stuff. So I'm thinking about doing that. Um, if I'm gonna do it, I'll release a video earlier in the day tomorrow with an update about how the dragon runs were going. Hopefully, we'll have news tomorrow about some of these events coming up. But you should, if you want to get information about what I'm gonna be doing, because I can't always make a video to tell you guys like, oh, I'm gonna be streaming tonight. Um, so the best thing to do would be to follow me on Twitch, and that's twitch.tv/imroadblock. It's going to be linked in the description, or follow me on Twitter or X. Um, and I think, yeah, that's at roadblock3613 for um, my X account or Twitter account, whatever you guys want to call it. I will post updates about what I'd be doing. So if I'm gonna stream, you would hear about it on X, or you'll see me go live if you follow me on Twitch. So I'm excited about doing that, mostly because I want to improve that account a little bit, because I really want to do more to help my clan get closer to Ultra Nightmare. Even though I'm putting 255 million, we're still not consistently getting Ultra Nightmare down every night, and I want to fix that. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.